Hello everyone, and welcome back to Unk Plays Games, answering the age-old question, does Unk still got it? This time around we're playing Ascension 4 with the Ironclad, and truthfully, at the start of this run, I had no idea where my build was going. As you can see, I picked up a pretty universal card right there in Shockwave. Didn't get too many great options from Niao, but hopefully it pays off. And actually, Shockwave first turn came in clutch right there. Love to see it. I'm not great with the Ironclad. I feel as if he's an easy enough character, but I just haven't really made a super potent build outside my first video where I made a strike deck. This time around, I'm just looking through my deck and seeing like, oh yeah, Shockwave does exhaust. And honestly, kind of grateful it does, because 3 turns of weakness and vulnerable is enough. Like, I'd cycle through too quickly. For a second, I was about to skip that card option, but I ended up going with Stomp, just because I like having an AoE option. I lost the last 2 runs because I ended up fighting a bunch of mobs that had, like, a bunch of mobs that were multi-mob battles, and I couldn't DPS them down fast enough. So this time around I ended up grabbing Stomp just in case I came across the Elite Worms or the Sleeping Beetle or any other multi-mob battle. So as you can see here, we're fighting the Nibbit. We're trying to not take a lot of damage and get our max HP, or our HP close to max. I think I opt for Battle Trance here. I love Battle Trance. It sucks that you can't draw cards after you use it, but for 0 cost, being able to draw 3 or 4 cards based on if it's enhanced or not, very, very nice card. So I was trying to pick up either like cards that would make, let's say, a defense build or a strike build or something like that, but I kept getting these odd cards like Battle Trance and Shockwave where I still had no idea where the build was going. I usually enjoy runs more when I start with a card that gives me like a defined outlook on where it's going. As you can see here, we draw we get a multi-mob battle, and perfect situation for Stomp. I spread out the damage and AoE them all down turn 1. Really useful. Stomp is kind of goated. It's really nice when you can use 3 1-cost attacks and you get to play it for free. Really helps out with the damage output. As you can see there, we 2-turn it. Really nice. Right here, I'm looking at Whirlwind, but I decide Stomp is enough AoE damage. And only because I don't have any energy producing cards. So having Whirlwind usually functions best if you have things like a Lantern, Happy Flower, Bloodletting, or Offering. So I opted to skip it just in case I didn't get those high energy options. And here we're fighting a Berdonus. Honestly, I hate this elite. It just continuously attacks and continuously gets stronger. It's very two-dimensional in its attack style, and I'm opting here to just trade with it because I know from previous runs that if I start trying to block too many of its turns, it'll just destroy me. We get the Regal Pillow, and I pick up a Setup Strike. I love Setup Strike. For 1 energy, you get 9 damage and 3 strength. Really useful card, and it's going to combo very well with Stomp, because if I use it in the string towards Stomp, get the Stomp for 0 with the bonus strength, it's going to be very effective. So here I'm considering, should I use Shockwave or should I go in with a damage combo? I opted for Shockwave, and I'm not sure if this was the right call, because I think I end up taking a lot of damage from these 2 Nibbits. Let's see. Yeah, we're taking 16 damage. Pretty rough. We set up Strike for a little bit extra damage on the second one there, and we're just hoping to take it out right here without taking too much more damage. We set up the triple Strike to a Stomp, and it's just short. So we're taking 16 more damage. We're already hurting. Not the most ideal situation. I pick up Impervious here because it is a rare card, and I'm lacking in block. Typically, I like to remove defense from my deck first, especially on the Ironclad, since so many of his powers revolve around the strike word. So I decided if I'm going to be removing cards, it'll be defense first, and then later on we'll work on rebuilding our defensive prowess. So here I do a full block turn because my draw was not good, and I'm still kind of iffy on if I should have. And using that battle trance there was definitely a mistake because I used up my setup strike and stomp with draws, leaving me with a very basic hand right here. Gross. So at this point, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I've screwed up this entire run. But thankfully, we get an awesome stomp combo. And the fairy in the bottle saves our life right there. Navi coming in clutch, saving us, which helps us defeat this elite. And honestly, this run would have been a wash if I didn't have that potion. So very grateful for that lucky pickup. We get a setup strike, or a perfect strike. And with the Regal Pillow, we've rested up to nearly max HP. So I'm pretty happy about that. The run has some second wind happening over here. I hate this elite. I can't stand the infected frog. It's the infection cards that it stacks on early are super depressing, and the second phase where it spawns a bunch of minions is also kind of smudge. So here I'm looking like, how can I afford to use Stomp? And I was hoping to save 1 energy for this phase right here so I could stomp out all these AoE mobs, or AoE these multiple mobs in 1 turn, but I couldn't get lucky. So instead, I used my Gambler's Brew to draw, hoping that I would get Stomp again. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case, and we just end up having to tank out this first round while waiting for the Stomp card to come back. I'm just hoping that I can draw, and again, we do not draw Stomp. Actually, Smoge, very annoying. We're taking a bunch of infected damage, and we're going to take damage from the back worm right there. Thankfully, the Tungsten Rod is helping us out a lot here, and we get to manage. It took a little while, but we got to the Stomp combo. I pick up the Twin Strikes over there just because I picked up the Strike Dummy, and easiest purchase of my life, the Lantern. First turn extra energy. I'll never say no to that. I love the Lantern. I like the Candelabra. I like the Chandelier. All those artifacts are amazing to me. I enjoy them a lot. And here I upgrade Battle Trance because getting an extra card out of it, I told myself if I could draw more cards, I could more easily set up the Stomp combos and hopefully burst down the waves of mobs to make up for my lack of defense. So as you can see here, the logic works out. We managed to Stomp combo into the Stomp and stun the beast over here. And while it's not attacking, I decide to shockwave it because ringing is coming up. As you can see now, it's ringing us, and I figured for the next few turns while it's using its ring and doing high damage, having the mob weakened and vulnerable is very beneficial. Yep, so this fight's looking really good. I'm actually super stoked because it looked like we were going to take an early L, but the build is kind of coming together. Now here I pick up Pyre, and honestly I love the card. I love Pyre, but I don't think I make very good use of it in this run. It's just too expensive. 2 energy was a little bit too costly. I made a mistake right there. I didn't account for my Lantern, and I could have used Pyre to have more energy in the subsequent turns. But we still managed to take out the front bug pretty easily, and thankfully the fight wasn't too bad. Alright, here I'm deciding what do I want to trade, and I end up going with the trading in the I didn't want to trade in the strike dummy rather, so I ended up taking away the Centennial Puzzle and got the Stonecracker. Not the greatest trade. The only reason I didn't trade anything else is because the strike dummy kind of works with all the strikes I've been collecting, and the, what was it, the lantern? I'll never trade that lantern. I freaking love that card. So here we pick up Rage, which super useful, especially if you're deciding on dropping defense and focusing more on attacks. Having that extra way of earning... Oh no. I used Offering there, hoping to draw more cards, but I forgot the Battle Trance and nerfs card draw. So a little bit unfortunate, but we get the damage in there. And I'm just looking at what options I have here to pick up, and I think I opt for Sacrificing. Pale's Wing is goated, especially if you end up picking up, I think it's called the White Star artifact. It lets you get 2 card rewards per battle, which lets you pretty much trade 2 cards for an artifact every single fight. So here we opt for fighting the Flail Knight, trying to get his Lantern Key. And we do a ton of early damage. He's already less than half HP. Kinda crazy, all things considered. He's at 6 HP, that's wonderful. I was sitting there thinking, like, did I make a mistake going after him like that? But nope, we got the damage, we got the Lantern Key. And I think I end up I sacrificed to get the Strawberry there. And we're cruising right now. I still have no idea where this build is going. I got some strikes, I got the strike dummy, so is it a strike build? I'm really hoping to solidify the strike build, I'm really hoping to find, what's the item, or the card, Hellraiser. It's a power for the Ironclad that lets you use any strike word cards for free when you draw them. So if we find that one, the strike build is back online, but I'm still kind of on the fence. I'm not sure, I'm not sure if it's gonna come through, and if not, like, I was considering what would be my other options. Stomp coming in clutch again here. This mob ended my last 2 runs because I didn't have any AoE options, but thankfully because of Stomp, made a huge difference. I think I end up picking up Aggression here. Yeah, I pick up Aggression just because my logic was that if we do get Hellraiser, it's a good card on its own, but if we end up getting Hellraiser, it generates cards at the beginning of the turn, and if they happen to be strike cards, they would get played automatically from Hellraiser. So that was my logic on it right there. And I think right here I end up picking up Bloodletting, and so I could use Impervious. Yep, there it is, and that helps me block away the 16 damage. Beautiful. We got through those mobs pretty easily there, and we're sacrificing it to Pale's Wing. I get a little cheeky here and go after the Elite. I'm kind of glad I did. The run ended up being a successful one, but without going after these Elites for all these different artifacts, I don't think I would have succeeded. So yeah, as you can see, we're going to be trading some damage with the... I forget what this mob is called. What is it called? It's that weird dice-shaped mob. So I'm considering my options here. I'm like saying, should I just go in and block? Should I use some powers? I end up going with a little bit of blocking to set up for the next turn. And I think, yeah, we're able to stomp it here and get it really low. I love how the Ironclad combos are so... They're not convoluted. They're very cut and dry. Very much like... Oh, see, I messed up there. I was kicking myself a bit here. I should have used... I didn't account for the extra energy you get back from the mob's passive Spark. So if I had used the vulnerability first, I would have secured the kill without taking that extra bit of damage. Thank goodness I chose the 0 cost card, because it gave another Rage. Rage is great, especially if you're lacking in defense. Like right here, being able to play a couple Rages to generate 10, or what is it, 8 block per attack, just negated all the damage right there. Super duper useful. I love that card just because it makes your attacks your defense as well. So here I opt for powering up, and the permafrost snowflake there, I managed to benefit from it while using aggression. So right now I'm just looking, I'm like, what should I use? What's the combo? I'm trying to find a way to use Stomp. So I decided to go with the Stomp combo. Yeah. Yep. This boss killed me last round. I didn't have enough AoE. The multi-worms killed me the time before, and this boss killed me the time before that. So this time around, I opt to use Stomp as often as I can, just so I can deal with the multiple attacks happening all the time. We double rage again, and from here, I think I go triple strikes. Yep, to Stomp again. As you can see, it's bringing in a ton of damage. The right claw is already 1/3 defeated, while I've been focusing the left one. So with the combo of rage and Stomp, it's doing a great job evening out the damage, or spreading out the damage rather, so that way I don't fall behind as these mobs get more and more, or these claws rather, get more and more powerful. So at this point I'm wondering, like, should I just use my perfected strike here, or should I go for a multi-attack like I have been? And I decided to go with the big damage because I know after this attack it's about to power up. The right claw is about to power up and potentially one-shot me. So here we're just gonna set up. It's only at 23 damage left. Oh wow. Okay, yeah, we just take it out. That's even better. Holy. And that sets us up to defeat the right claw right afterwards. And we get Hellraiser. I'm just looking through my deck to make sure I got a ton of strikes, and I do. I got setup strike, twin strike, perfected strike. I still have all the normal strikes. And here, my mind was just like, I had an epiphany. I'm like, if I add Swift to, let's say, Rage, the Rages in Hellraiser, which is what I decide to do, that is a ton of card draw. Between those 3 cards and Battle Trance, that's like, what, 13 cards worth of card draw, which combos exceptionally well with Hellraiser. So if I manage to get that combo, I would be drawing cards for very, very cheap. Both Rages are 0 energy cost, and if any of them end up being strikes while I have Hellraiser up, it's pretty much a 0 cost card for all that damage. So right here, I'm gonna set up strike. Oh, it just died right away. Okay, that's okay. We'll get the combo in subsequent fights here. So I'm removing my defense to increase the chance of me drawing rage, which is a much more efficient way of generating block with the build I got going. And we trade the Lantern Key in for History Course, which works perfectly with Hellraiser. Playing cards that I played from last turn, actually huge. So we start right there. Look at this. Look at the draw. The draw combo we got here is actually nuts. I used the Rage again for the block, but I totally messed up because I used Battle Trance, but it didn't matter. And we pick up another strike to work with the Hellraiser and Perfected Strike, and we get the Trial event. I hate this event. It's so annoying. I don't like the fact that like 90% of the time it adds a curse to my deck. So here I'm just considering like what doesn't work with the Strike / Hellraiser build or card draw build, and I end up trading in the Bash and the Defend, which I'm glad I did. Oh no. These 3 mobs are brutal. So I end up using Attack Potion because I'm kind of scared. And we get Howl from Beyond. Great card, especially if you have a way of exhausting it. It makes it play for free for pretty much the rest of the fight. But we don't have any exhaust options in our deck. So instead I'm just looking, I'm like, should I Shockwave them? Like, and I do end up Shockwaving them because I know they're going to be doing a ton of damage. The Flail Knight and the Knight Magi, they do a ton of damage, and getting weakness on them is huge. And here I use Hellraiser, which immediately draws Setup Strike. Kind of crazy. Really sets up for doing some damage. I don't know why I didn't use Hellraiser, Rage right there, but it's okay. We get Ashen Strike, which does work with the Strike build, but we don't exhaust cards. So I decided to skip it, and we end up taking an Artifact instead from Pale's Wing, which really worked out. So obviously upgrading Hellraiser, 1 energy for its passive and drawing 3 cards is insane. You can't get better value than that. So here I'm looking, and I know I'm not going to draw any cards, but I need... You know what? And looking back at this, using Rage was a dumb idea. I should have saved it for other turns because I didn't draw cards, and I'm generating block that's unneeded right now. So you live, you learn. This time around, we draw Hellraiser, which draws Setup Strike, which draws a strike and a strike. Crazy. Crazy. The build is coming together. I was like, oh my gosh, this is a combo. I think this is the point where I realized like this build might actually be a thing. Because look, we're getting all these strikes. We got the strike dummy. We're getting a ton of damage. We got great artifacts. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, this might be a win. So let's see what we could do here. Pick up the Vajra. Very, very easy pickup. I'm already kind of stacking strength. So having another passive point of strength is you don't have to convince me to pick that up. We get greedy by going after an elite over here. And truthfully, when we get the Mecha Knight, I'm actually pretty happy. I'm pretty happy we got him because my build excels against 1v1 targets. And with the Hellraiser combo now in effect, I honestly had zero fear. Like, look at this. We're just doing damage. We're going to rage to draw more cards and do more damage and do more damage. So we're in a pretty good spot over here. And I think we're gonna get more free. Yep, another free strike. We're gonna draw 3 from rage and get even more strikes. And then we're gonna rage again for no reason, just because the card draw ability has already been burnt. We're tanking everything. We're taking no damage. There's twin strike, there's setup strike. Like, oh my goodness. I decided to discard the Dex potion because the block generated from rage is unaffected by dexterity. It's not directly from a card, it's from like a subsequent effect. So I opt to remove it for the Gambler's Brew, so that way we can have more options when our cards get bound by the Queen. So here I start off with aggression. We're drawing with rage. We're drawing again with rage. I was really hoping to get Hellraiser, but unfortunately we didn't. In retro, oh, there it is. Okay, so we do end up getting Hellraiser. We don't have any more card draw because of Battle Trance, but I'm not too concerned about it because I was going to use Shockwave regardless. And now we're just going in. We use Shockwave again because of the History Tome. And we're in a really, really good spot here to win. So I end up... Do I end up using Impervious or Pyre here? Oh, there we go. I end up trading in all the bound cards. So that way Hellraiser can be effective right away. And look at it go. It's already starting to put in work. You know, we didn't get any block that turn, but it wasn't a huge deal because we've set ourselves up for success. So here we go with the attacks. We got the strikes coming in. A little bit more strike power. We used everything except Doubt there. Really, really good turn considering our hands are bound from here on out. And Hellraiser's just going in. Look at that. Look at the damage. And the tome, the History Tome, using Impervious from last round, which is an exhausted card. Crazy. Actually kind of lucky now that I'm looking back at it. And as you can see here, the Queen has no chance. Like, we're just getting so much free damage from the History Tome and the Hellraiser. We're getting tons of energy from Pyre. We have more energy than we know what to do with. Look at that. Just boom. Just get that damage in there. Get it going. Throw the potion just for the lulls. And stomp. And this is pretty much a wash. Like, Hellraiser's goated. What can I say? The hand played itself. GG. Yo, thank you so much for watching. Check out my other videos, and I'll see y'all for the next one. Take care.